Okay, here we go. So today we're going to talk about putting the property on the MLS. So if you have already joined the LVR, you've got this website. If your license hasn't come in yet, this is going to look all foreign to you, but you'll get it as soon as you'll jump on here as soon as you get your license and go to the LVR. But I'll kind of walk you through it. If you have this, this is just putting the property on the MLS. So last week we talked about how you prepare the contracts and everything that you need to do, like calling the HOA, finding out how much the HOA fees are, what it includes. So all of that information is what you're going to take to put on the MLS. So when you get to the MLS, you're going to click on Matrix, which is the first tile. And then all of these come up. You're going to read them. And then you're going to read later, or once you've read them, click Ignore. But we've got all these tabs at the top. So search when you want to look for a search, but when you want to add a property to the MLS, you're going to click Add and Edit. So you can add new or edit an existing one. Since I don't have any listings here, nothing comes up, but there would be a drop down to pick the ones that you want. So you would click on Add New, and then residential listing input, high-rise input, multiple dwelling, vacant land. It asks you what you're going to input. And at this point, we're going to talk about residential listings. And then this is where that starts. Okay, so usually the photographer will take pictures 24 to 48 hours prior to you going on the market. So what I like to do is I go there with the photographer, and while he's taking pictures, I'm doing measurements. And then I'm filling out the data form, which is on the last 4 pages, 5 pages, 4 pages. It looks like this, which I gave to you last week in last week's package, the residential data form. And you're gonna take this with you and fill it out as you're walking through the home. Are there fans in every bedroom? Is it electric? Is it gas? Anything that the house includes, what kind of roof tiles that there are, if there's a patio, all the room dimensions, everything is in there, as well as on the last page, the HOA information, or the second to last page, second to last page is the HOA information. So you will have already called up to find out that information. But it asks you about the water heater, the AC, if it's green building, all of this stuff is in there. So why this form is helpful is because when you get home, you will have snapped a few pictures on your phone, but you're like, shoot, I don't remember what kind of flooring was in that bathroom. Is it the same as the kitchen? You don't remember because you're too busy doing everything else. So you're gonna take all of your notes onto here, and then when you come home, the photographer's gonna take pictures, you're gonna do all your measurements, fill all that stuff in there. Then you'll also have your tax record, which you should have already pulled before you went to the listing appointment. But that tax record, on that tax record is the data that you're gonna fill in here, which I don't even think I have a tax record in here to do this, to complete it. I do, actually, okay. So I have a property tax record, and so it looks like this, okay? I do the property taxes of 1 page, and it comes out in this form, right? And at the very top, the very first thing is the parcel number. That parcel number is what you're gonna fill in here. Okay, so just remember, right when you put add a listing, you're gonna go here, parcel form fill in, right? So I'm gonna type this in here, -21 -811 -083. And then once you hit fill form, it's gonna fill in as much information from the tax record that they have. And then the rest of these yellow boxes are a must be filled in before you can go live on the market, right? So it helps with a lot of that stuff because it's gonna ask you the latitude, the longitude. You don't know any of that stuff. We used to have these huge books that we'd have to open up and then do the cross properties to find all that stuff. Now they've made it really simple, and then they just put it all in there for you, right? So whatever's yellow, you can fill in every box, but whatever's yellow is must be, right? So with that, right here, we're gonna start at the very top one, the listing agreement type. Active exclusive, which is ER, auction or exclusive agency. You would be doing ER, sometimes auction, but never exclusive agency. That means you're only selling it to anybody that you know that comes to you. So you're out there on the MLS, but the seller can accept an offer from anybody else, but you will have to have brought them there, and which is very difficult to do in the sense that they want to be able to find their own people and not pay you. we don't really want you to or allow you to take those listings. So it's always ER, exclusive right? Okay, it's not land lease, don't worry about that, ownership, I don't fill any of that out. So then the price, you're gonna type in whatever price that it is that you want, and then the list date. This is the list date is when it's going active, not today's date, not when you filled out the forms, because that date, the minute that date hits, if you are not on at midnight on that date, or 11:59 on that date, now you're delayed and you have to do a change order form and all of that stuff. So that list date is when you're filling out the contract, it asks you on there, the start date and the end date. That's the date that you plan on going on the market. So say I went to the listing appointment today, but I knew that we weren't going on the market until April 1st. I would put April 1st till whenever, however long the listing agreement I'm gonna take. So that would be April 1st right there, because that's the date we're gonna go live. And it says on here, on market date, leaving this field blank will set the listing to activate, to active status. Entering a future date will set this listing as coming soon. So, and then you have the expiration date. So you always have to have a start date and end date to make a legal binding contract, right? So then it fills in all of this other stuff, which is the address, a parcel number, all that. And then your zoning, horses, multifamily, professional, single family. Most of them are gonna be single family. If it's a condo, still single family. Well, yeah, I guess it would be, did I put multifamily? No, it would be single family, I believe. No, it would be multifamily, sorry, if it's condo. Just had to think about that for a second. Your built description, new, resale, to be built or under construction. Since we are resale realtors, guys, it's gonna be resale. But every once in a while, some people have a relationship with builders. And they're like, hey, I have a new build and we want somebody to put it on the market. So that's when you would put new. But for the most part, you're almost always gonna be resale, right? Community name. So this is a tough one. Not every community in the Nevada, state of Nevada, is gonna be in there. So we do have this little field called none, right here. So most of the time, I try to find it and it's gonna be on this tax record. This one is Canyon Willows East. Well, I don't even think this one was in here. So Canyon Estates? Nope, it's not. Canyon Park. So I have to just put none. And then you just hit okay, and it populates right in there, none. Is it age restricted? Yes or no? That's pretty much it. I mean, you can leave it, you can't leave it blank because it's yellow. So it's either is it or is it not? Elementary school. Okay, so do not guess on the schools. It's really super simple because you can look them up this way if you know which school it is. But if not, you're going to go to Clark County School. I'm just gonna go here, and there's Clark County School District. You're gonna click on that, and then you're gonna do where is it? Students, parents. I think it's under parents. Search for school. So parents, search for school, and then advanced search, school name. Oh wait, maybe it's zoning. So schools and then zoning. So scratch that first one. It's schools and then zoning. And then right here, the best part of it, you're gonna go to the zoning search. All you need to do is fill in the address. So this one is, where am I? 5701. And then I don't put east, west, nothing. I just put Tropicana. And then, no matches. How is that?
Those 5710.
Oh gosh, thank you. 5710. And then that's what I was looking for. Okay, so when you're doing any kind of complex, it's gonna ask you for the unit number before it gives you any schools. So because it's all in the same complex, I'm just gonna pick one, right? And it's gonna tell me kindergarten, 1st through 5th, 6th, I think it's 5th, and then 6th through 8th is middle school, and then 9th through 12th is high school. And it'll tell you 9 month, most everything, I think it's 9 month at this point, because back in the day we had year-round school, so we had to designate which ones were. But it's gonna tell you Bailey, Courtney, and then basic. So when you come back here, elementary school, we're gonna type in Bailey, B-A-I, and it's Bailey, okay. And then elementary, still 3 through 5, Bailey, right? And then junior high was Courtney, C-O-R, Courtney, and then I think they said basic, right? Mm-hmm. So basic, there we go. There's your schooling, okay? Township range, again, these came from when we typed in the parcel number, goes latitude, longitude, township range, so that's why it's super important. You can get around putting that parcel number in there and manually doing everything. Don't. Just let it pull from the tax record, because it's stuff that, I don't even know where to send you to find that stuff, right? So, built description. Oh, we talked about that one. Okay, so then that's pretty much for this page. Oh, building, it's gonna ask you the building number if you're in a complex, but, so with that, what I like to do is hit save as incomplete before I go to the next page. Because I'm telling you right now, you're gonna get to the 4th page, and then something's gonna happen, and you're gonna walk away, and then when you come back, it has timed out and wiped out all of your information, and you have to start back over. So just keep hitting save as incomplete. So the first time you hit save as incomplete, it will generate an MLS number for you, which is awesome. You write that number down, and then when you go back in there, you can just pull it up by that number. But save as incomplete, and then you're gonna go to page 2, which is features. Okay, and that's where it's gonna ask you all this stuff that's in the house, right? So your association, what's included in association, and that's why it's super important to call the HOA ahead of time. Don't guess on that stuff, because some people buy in certain areas because it has a community pool. If you put community pool by accident instead of personal pool, they might go and search in there because they think that, and so you've wasted their time. So don't do that. Don't say that there's a dog park if there's not a dog park. People buy for that kind of stuff. So then you're gonna go building description. Is it a 1-story? Is it a 2-story? And then now if you're in a condo like this one, are they on the 1st floor? Are they on the 2nd floor? It's a 2-story building, but it's on the 2nd floor. And then it says for the unit number, it says unit description, 2nd level if you're on the 2nd floor. People get that really confused. They put 2-story 1st floor when it's actually 2-story 2nd floor. It's just really confusing. So people look at that because some people want a 1st floor, other people want a 2nd floor. So just be really accurate on that kind of stuff. Now this one's not yellow, but you can feel free to go through there, and if there's anything you want to add in there, click it. But the yellow ones are just what's mandatory to get into the MLS. So then we have the type. Attached or detached. If you're a single family residence that is not attached to the neighbor, that is detached. But if you are attached in any which way, at the garage, sharing a wall, if you're on a condo, a townhome, it's attached. Otherwise, you are a freestanding home and you are not connected to the neighbors, that is detached. Okay, the year of the home, auto-populated, is studio, which means like a condo, studio, like if you walk in and everything's right there. There's no separate room other than the bathroom. Kitchen and bedroom are all in the same area. You know, there are some out there, not too many, but there are. Condo conversion. So, back in the day, we had apartment complexes that somebody came in and bought and converted them to condos so they could be sold. That's a condo conversion. Otherwise, there's just new condos that are, you would find that out from the HOA. Call the HOA, or are these a condo conversion? That's all that means, right? How many baths? Full baths, 3/4 baths, half baths, bedrooms, if there's a den, if there's a loft. If not, put 0. It has to be filled in because it's yellow, and if there's no loft, put 0, right? If you have a manufactured home, has it been converted to real property? Does anybody know what that means? Okay. There's manufactured homes, which are trailers, right, or double wides, whatever they call them, that you can just pull onto the ground and keep there. Converted to real property means they're on a foundation and have been strapped and secured to the ground. If they have not been done like that, you can't get a loan on that because it's just a movable unit. So once they're converted, now you can get a loan on it. There's very few lenders that loan on the even converted to real properties because they're manufactured, but there are some, right? A lot of lenders don't like to do it, but you have to know that when, if it's been converted. But again, these are not yellow, so if it doesn't apply to it, don't worry about that. How many garages? If there isn't one, again, put 0. Don't put 1 because there's none. It's 0 if there is not a garage. And has it been converted? Meaning converted to a bedroom. Look, there are some of the older homes, they block them off, secure them, and now they've made it a bedroom. So that people want to know if they can park in their garage, if there's a carport, if there's RV parking. If there's RV parking, guys, please fill this out. I had my niche for a very long time was RV parking. And it was so frustrating because half the time they wouldn't even put that there was RV parking. And I'm like, did you have a whole gate there? Like, super important because there's people like myself that I look for homes just for that. So is it gated? Meaning, like, yes, there might just be an extra extended driveway that the HOA doesn't care if they park RVs there. Usually that's not the case. But is there a gate? Or is it just, hey, it's wide enough for an RV gate? You gotta let me know. Is it paved? Is it dirt? Are there hookups? Hookups mean water and sewer for your RV. Because we go on a trip and we come home, and if we have nowhere to dump the water and sewer, we would like to have it at our house so we can just plug in and then just dump everything in there, right? Is it covered? Is there a separate garage? They do make huge RV garages, so let us know what that is. Then this just talks about approximate living area. Your garage, it asks you up here, your garage. Now it asks you the description. It's not yellow, but it's super helpful if you guys can fill that out. Is it attached to the house? Does it have an automatic garage door opener? Are there cabinets in there? Is there an entry door into the house, directly into the house from the garage? Not like I have to walk out in between the house, like directly in there. Has the floor been epoxied? Like, all of this stuff are selling features. So you want to put as much information into the MLS that you have, right? Parking description. This is super helpful too, because there's some new home developments that the streets are so skinny that you cannot park on there. So are they allowed to park in the driveway? If not, is there community parking somewhere else? Is it covered? Is it, is there electric car hookup? All of that stuff is super important when people are buying homes. So your roof description. Is it asphalt? Or there tile? Is it flat? There's like, you've got to go outside and inspect the home. Know the differences in the tiles, or the roof. If it's tile, there's tar, there's those little stones, like there's all this kind of stuff. Depends on what kind of home you've got, how old the home. Then your lot description. Most of them are in Vegas, unfortunately, are going to be under 1/4 of an acre. But then goes up from there, 5+ acres. If it's on the corner, if it's in a cul-de-sac, huge selling feature, guys. If you're in a cul-de-sac, mark that down there, because some people only want homes in cul-de-sacs, and they will have their realtor search for cul-de-sacs, which is kind of tough, because if you've got a realtor that doesn't put it in there, it's never going to come up, and so these people are never going to see these people's homes, right? So if you're in a golf course, anything else, 0 lot line. Does anybody know what a 0 lot line is? That means you're pretty much got your house. Like, there's no back door. It's usually one of those smaller ones. They're like cookie cutter, right? And it's have a 1-car garage, and you can see there's like a really skinny way on each side, and in the back there's like not even a fence around it. It's like a 0 lot line. It's the whole from front to back is like 3,000 square feet, 3,600 square feet, and the house just goes up. So there's no yard. There's nothing for that. That's a 0 lot line. There's also what's called courtyard homes, where they're usually in some kind of like a cul-de-sac, and you pull in and everybody's got to park in their driveway, and usually they don't lie in the driveway, but there is a little courtyard gate to come in there. Sometimes it's enough for like a dog, maybe, and you go into the house, but there's, again, no backyard. So there's differences, and there's people like, no, I want a yard. So that's why that lot description is super important. Private spa, private pool. If it's a pool, let us know if it's above ground or if it's actually in the ground. They just ask you all these questions. So pool width and length, that's a tough one. If the homeowners have it, great, because if they built the pool, they know. Otherwise, you're out there with measuring tapes, and you're like, I just kind of want a length, because they're changing the restrictions on the pool. So if you have one of those older pools that built like a kidney shape, or it's a huge, got a deep end, super important to put that in there, because now pretty much people are doing lap pools, and there's nothing to them. They're just rectangle. That's it. So a lot of people look for those deep pools. So I would put that there, and I would put it in the remarks, right? So then this talks about your primary bedroom. Is there a bedroom downstairs? Is the primary bedroom downstairs? There's a lot of people looking for that. So if you have a primary bedroom downstairs, do not skip this part there. Otherwise, is there a bathroom downstairs? Because if the primary is not downstairs, just put no. But is there a bedroom downstairs? Yes, because there is one. If there's not a bedroom downstairs, do not put yes. And then a bathroom down, and then bathroom description. It'll ask you, is it a half bath, 3/4 bath, full bath? Generally, if there is a bedroom downstairs, there should be a shower or tub shower in there, because if somebody's downstairs, they shouldn't have to go upstairs to shower. But sometimes it's like a den and somebody's converted it to a bedroom, and now you gotta let them know that there's only a half bath down there, because that matters. Maybe they're putting an elderly person that can't get up the stairs. Like, I don't wanna see it, I can't even go there. You know, so all of this stuff matters. Construction description, if there's some kind of description on the side of the house, outside usually. Is the refrigerator included? Okay, washer, dryer, refrigerator are optional appliances. They do not have to come with the house, okay? Your stove and oven should come with the house. FHA it's not even, you can't get a loan on it if you don't have a stove and oven. Has to be a livable property, and that they deem a stove oven livable property. Is there a garbage disposal? Yes, if there is. No, if there's not. Not all houses have them. Dishwasher, is it included? Some people take them out. You know, there's space for it. They just took it out. But washer and dryer, is it included? Dryer, utilities, gas, electric, or both. Very important that you look. Even if they leave them there, you need to climb up on top of them and look behind there, because they're saying, oh, it's gas. Well, there might be an electric thing in there, electric plug. It's one of those black plugs that's about this big, and it's got 3 prong holes. Super important, because some people love their electric dryers, and they will buy a house just because it has electric dryer. Yeah, I know, crazy. But it does matter. And if you put gas and it's actually electric, that's bad on you, because again, some people are buying it because it's electric. So super important that you pay attention to that. Is furniture included? Sometimes people do sell the house with all the furniture included. I'm leaving the state, I don't wanna pack it up. Is it included? Some of the high rises, they sell with cause they're like, I'm not taking that stuff down. It is what it is. A lot of them buy them as second homes, and they just don't wanna mess with it. So just let everybody know if it's included in there. Washer dryer location. Is it on the first floor, second floor? Is it a separate laundry area? Is it a room? Is it a closet? It's asking you everything in there, right? Appliance description. Does it have central vacuum? Does everybody know what central vacuum is? Okay, so central vacuum is it's a vacuum system that goes through the whole house. And you'll see it a lot of times in the kitchen. There'll be like little vents underneath the cabinets, like where I don't even know how to say it, but usually down on the floor. And what you do is you sweep, and then you kick this switch on, and you brush everything right in there, and it goes whoop, and then it empties usually into the garage. And then you just empty right there. So you're not sweeping through the whole house. You're just sweeping, and every room usually has some kind of a vent. So super important. Doesn't mean that, yeah, you can plug your vacuum into every outlet. That's not what that means. Central vacuum means it goes through the whole house, right? If there's a microwave, put it in there. Water conditioner. Is there a loop? Is it owned? Is it rented? Super important in Nevada here, because we have hard water. I myself would not buy a house without a water loop, a water conditioning loop. And you can see the loop in the garage. It's when you go out there, it's usually by the water heater, and it's this like big copper, I'll go this way, but it's like a U-shaped pipe that comes out if they have not hooked it up. But otherwise, it's those really long cylinder things that are, or big tubs like that are in the garage that they put salt in to condition that water. So super important, because there's people like me that will not buy a house unless it's in there. Does it have a wine refrigerator, all of that kind of stuff. So your oven description. Is it a built-in oven? Is it gas? Is it electric? Is it a cooktop? Do people know what the difference is? What's a cooktop?
Just a drop-in.
Okay, well, the cooktop is the one that has the burners on the top. If it doesn't have the burners on the top, like, don't put cooktop. Cook on top of the oven. That's what it is. Cook top off the oven. Because people, they care, and some people are like, I want a double oven in the wall so it's not taking up the, you know, it all matters, because sometimes you can have electric on your counter and it's not taking up any space, and you have all the cabinets underneath, and then you have the double oven in the wall. So they don't want the oven that comes down into the walkway. Like, people are very particular about what they're looking for in homes, right? Because they're living it and they gotta use it every day. So interior description, is there an alarm system in there? Is it owned? Is it rented? Is it just wired? Let me know if it's wired, otherwise I gotta have a company come in here and wire the whole house. Are there ceiling fans? Even if there's one ceiling fan, guys, but yes, because that's a selling feature, right? And they might just be plumbed for and electrical. And you can tell because switches either have 2 or 3 switches if it's a light and a fan, because it's different, you know, turning different things on. If not, that's when you see the fan, and then you'll see this like thing, plastic thing that comes all the way down, because it's trying to hide the wires to the fan. That's okay, sometimes we have to do it. This is Vegas and most of us need fans in our rooms, so if it's not plumbed for it. If you're ever building a home from scratch, that's one thing I suggest you do is pre-wire for your fans, because people will not buy homes sometimes because it's not pre-wired for fans. That's something so simple, and I guess it costs $300-400, but that could make or break your whole house right there for selling it. Skylights, window coverings. Then we have accessibility features. Are there bath grab bars, raised toilets, if it makes it handicapped efficient? So there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Are there any fireplaces? If there are not, put 0. If there are 1 or 2 or whatever, it's gonna ask you what kind and where they're located. Be specific on that. Flooring description. Again, it says max 6. So some people have 15 different kinds of flooring in their house. So you're gonna put every single kind of flooring that they have, whether it's carpet, tiles, ceramic, I think there's laminate, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, travertine, so all that stuff's in. Fencing, any kind of fencing around the house. Backyard is fully fenced, front yard is fully fenced, partial is most of it, because it's just the backyard, it's not the front yard. So that's what that would be, and what kind of fencing it is. Equestrian, which means horses. Is there arena, hot walker, a pasture, riding paths? So if you live up in the northwest-ish, there's a place called Iron Mountain Ranch. We have riding paths around there. It's all those little white fencing all up and down. And so yes, there are riding paths up there, because you've got all these houses, but there's certain complexes in Iron Mountain Ranch that they're on half acres and they're allowed to have horses right in the middle of the subdivision. So they need to know that they can walk their horse right out of there. Then we back up to Thule Springs and all of that, so we do tons of horses up that way. Super important to know if they're there. House faces, north, south, east, west. If you have a relatively newer car, probably built in 2000 and newer, you have somewhere in there that tells you what direction your car is driving in, right? So what I do is I pull up to the front of the house and I can see which direction I'm facing, and I can see what direction your front door is facing. So if I am looking at the house and my car says north, then I know the house faces south. The front door faces south. Super important, because tons of people buy houses depending on which direction that house faces, that door faces, right? That's why it's yellow. It's super important. And are there any views? Guess what, guys? If I can stand upstairs and I can look and stand on my tippy toes and look out there and I can see the mountains, I have mountain views. Put mountain views. If I can see the strip, even better. But if there's golf course, we just list any kind of views that you have. Park views, strip views, whatever it is, right? Miscellaneous. Is flood insurance required? Your homeowner or the seller should know, because they have to get separate flood insurance. If they don't know, don't mark it, but are you offering a home protection plan, a home warranty? If neither of those apply, then hit none, right? Exterior description. Backyard access, balcony, barbecue stub, just mark in there whatever that you guys have there, right? Landscaping, desert landscaping, again, you could put up to 8, so is there a front lawn, is there a backyard, is it mature landscaping? Mature means, to me, really thick, overgrown, had years to grow in there, might not even be maintained. If it's overgrown, I like to put mature landscaping, because as homeowners not touching it, it is way mature at this point, right? So, shrubs, rock, gravel, sprinklers, synthetic, it's all in there. Heating description, are there 2 or more units? Is it central heating, no heating? Is it wood burning? So, and you gotta mark what you've got to do your work. So that's why this document here is super important, because do you think you're gonna remember all this when you get home? You're like, shoot, I forgot to look. Mark it while you're in there. And then when you get home and you're putting it into the MLS and you don't have the answer, call your homeowner. They might not have it either, but at least you've done your job, and say, okay, I'll go back to the house and I'll try to figure it out before I go on the market. Because once this hits the market, anybody can see it, and that could be the reason that they're buying the home. So you want to make sure you have as much accurately documented as possible, right? Is the house electric or is it gas? Is there a community public water? Is it a private well? Is it a community well? If you can read all of that stuff on the water heater and tell what size that tank is, awesome, then mark it. Cooling systems, there's that. Cooling fuel, it says here, electric, gas, or LP gas, you're gonna mark. Solar batteries, are the batteries owned? I mean, there's all this stuff, solar, electric, sewer, is it public? Garage utilities, or actually utility information, 220 in the garage. Above ground utilities are when you see those poles above the ground that you see hanging over all the homes. It's kind of older neighborhoods, but there's some newer neighborhoods too that are so far out there in the northwest. They have those big silver poles that are just, they're not coming down, so that's above ground. But then in the neighborhoods, it's below ground. So what are they asking? So, you know, you could put up to 4 in there. Energy, is it energy efficient? Are there low E windows, like all the stuff, solar panels? Green features. Most homes here are not green homes unless they're custom built, so just know that. And if they are greening, then you need to let us know if there's a certification that they actually have to have a document certification for a green building, right? Just because they have low E windows does not make them green. There's other things that, there's a whole big checklist for green, so most of the time you're not gonna fill that out unless it's been a special home, and the homeowner will be happy to tell you all the wonderful features it has. So there, now we're gonna hit save as incomplete, and then we're gonna go to the next one, right? Now it talks about the rooms, oops. So, it looks like there's nothing there, but you can keep adding more and more and more. So, I like to go down in order. I start with the primary bedroom, right? And then once you click on it, it gives you all these things. Is there a balcony? Is there the bedroom downstairs? Is there a custom closet? Is there a dressing room? Is there a loft? Is there a sitting area? Is it a walk-in closet? And then the dimensions. 14x12. That's what you do. That's all you type in there. And I'll do it like this. 14, lowercase x, and a 12. That is what you do. And then you click whatever you want to click here. I'm just going to click something. And then I hit more. Then I go to the next one. Primary bathroom. I don't measure kitchens or bathrooms. I just don't. So it's gonna have it in there, but it's not yellow, so it's not necessary. But please, please, please measure your bedrooms. Measure your living room, measure your lofts, measure those rooms that these people are gonna live in, because it matters how big the living room is if they have huge furniture. If they have 2 couches they have to put in there, if they have a china cabinet in the dining room, they need to know that stuff, right? So if they're like, hey, I can't even look at this house because this has been passed down for 3 generations and I have to take it with me. But then it'll ask you for the primary bath, is there a double sink? Is it, you know, a tub shower? Is there a tub? Is there a shower? Is there a tub shower combo where you're standing in the tub with the shower head? That's a tub shower combo. And it matters because there are people that say, I want a separate bath in my master or my primary. They will buy a house because of that, right? I've had clients where I'm walking around and the wife got into every bathtub. Do I like the bathtub? I'm like, you could change that out. Nope. I just want to know if it's got it. We were buying houses over bathtubs, guys. Super important. So, and then you're just going to go down again, and then you're going to click the next one. So let me go down this list. So you have second bedroom, third bedroom. It's going to ask you on these secondary bedrooms. What kind of closets? Are they mirrored closet doors? Are they 6-panel doors? They're going to ask you, are there fan pre-wire? Are they phone plugs? Are there cable plugs? There's going to go through a whole list of things, right? Then we have the dining room, the family room, the kitchen, the living room, the loft, the great room, media room. You're just going to keep clicking each room, and it's going to give you drop downs, and then you're going to do the dimensions. That is it. Then you hit save as incomplete at the bottom, and then you go up to the next tab, right? So then the next tab here is starts with the HOA. Is there an association? Fee? Yes or no? Then if you click yes, I believe it. No, it doesn't line up. But do you know the name of the association? Is there a master plan fee? Okay. So the fees, how they work here in Vegas, we have master plan communities, Summerlin, Sky Canyon, Southern Highlands, like all of those are master plan communities. And they have separate fees, which are down here, sit and lid. They are community fees that do walkways, street lights, streets. They travel with the home as well, so it's going to ask you what's the balance. And last week's class, I gave you the website to go to check those balances, right? Because you need to tell them what they are. Sometimes, when you're buying a new home, you can pay it off right then and there. Other times, if you say, no, I don't want to, it'll travel for 18 or 20 years, and it's like $500, well, $500 every 6 months. I mean, you have to find out what it is on that website that I gave you guys last week. But so this, we're gonna go back up to the top. You want the association name and the association phone number. It's super important because if I have a question, I'm the buyer's agent now, and I have a question, can they park their work truck in the driveway? The seller, listing agent, they are not gonna answer that question, and you shouldn't. If you're a listing agent, you know what? I'll get you the name to the HOA and you guys can call. Be the source of the source, but don't give them that answer, because if you say yes and really it was no and they bought that house, who do you think they're coming after? I'd say, here's the number, you can find out. You will get an HOA package once we go under contract, but right now, if you don't even wanna look at it until you find out, like, I just had an issue, not issue, well, I guess it kinda was an issue, but clients that had to have an RV gate, have to. And so we couldn't find one in their price range, so then we start looking at homes that have wide enough side yards, but then I have to call each HOA to find out if they allow that, because, and just don't go driving around thinking there's RV gates, so the HOA is gonna approve it. The community I live in now, we bought the first house in the first phase, we were the first one in there, right? We lived in that house for 6 years, we moved out for 9 years, renovated the house, moved back in, right? Now we want an RV gate. Oop. Well, there's 5 people in the subdivision that have RV gate. They're grandfathered in. My husband had listened to me when I said, let's do it at the beginning, but he didn't. So now we're not eligible for the RV gate. We need an RV. So now we've got to store, pay an extra fee storing it somewhere else, because they won't allow us to have it, so don't drive around. And also, once it's an architectural thing. So just because the HOA allows it, your neighbor might not. I don't wanna look at that, so they don't, because you have to have a form that each neighbor that can see it has to sign off. Across the street, behind you, next to you, and if one of those neighbors says, no, I don't want it, guess what? Now you have a dispute, now you have to fight for it with the HOA. So don't guarantee anybody a gate. But I was calling the HOA just to see if it's possible, and then we want to go look at it. And then they could decide if that's the point that they wanted to try it. But you weren't gonna get any of those answers until you bought the house, and 4 or 5 months in, you went in front of the HOA. I said, you guys, it's a gamble, but we could try it this way, but we weren't finding anything else. So don't just assume that the neighbor has one so you can get one. So with that, you're gonna find out everything that it requires, all that stuff, what's included. Sometimes, like my uncle, I sold him a house a few years ago, it comes with ADT. The HOA pays for ADT security in the houses. It's not a condo complex. I was like, the first time I've ever seen this, but every house in the community is paying ADT. So I was like, that's pretty cool. But so you don't know, so ask the HOA, what's included with your $85 a month fee? Are there community parks? How many parks? All of that kind of stuff, you need to be asking the HOA, because your seller's like, I know there's a park right on the back street. Well, there could be 3 parks that they don't even know about. Is it gated? The pool, can everybody use the pool? How many keys do I get for the pool? Like all of that stuff you need to ask and find out. So now we're gonna go back down here. So the SIDS and LIVs we talked about. Earnest money deposit. You're gonna kind of use your judgment. Anything under, I wanna say 300,000 below, I'll do like $3,000. Okay, so from 500,000, 3 to 500,000, I'll do between $5,000 and $8,000, depending on the house, the neighborhood, all that kind of stuff. Over $500,000, I'll go from 8 to 10. That's 500,000 to $1 million, and then at $1 million, I start going, okay, what kind of neighborhood do we have? What are we looking for? I don't want just any kind of looky-loos in there. When they know they have to put up $20,000, they might be a little bit more reluctant. But what that earnest money is saying, in good faith, I'm going to make this offer to you. And if I default in any way, you have every right to go after my money. So I just had another client that I've been working with for 2 years. He's 85 years old, and I just called him today, and he's like, oh, I think I got my house sold. I'm like, wait. I had to help him through the eviction process for evicting his stepdaughter. I mean, literally working with him for 2 years. But he got a postcard in the mail from a wholesaler, and now he signed a contract, and in bold letters it says the seller cannot get out of this contract for any reason. But he didn't talk to me before he signed that. He just like, oh, they're gonna give me my money. Well, in there as well, they put $1,000 earnest money. And I'm like, this is a $400,000 property. And I'm like, so if they default, which they will, I'm sure in that contract, because it was not an LVR contract, they have every reason to get out of it and still claim their money, because He and his granddaughter did not read the contract because they're like, I don't understand what it means, so just sign it. And they signed it. And so I thought we were in the eviction process, which they moved out this weekend. And apparently he's got another contract, which is fine because what they've offered him, I couldn't get. There's just no way. So I don't know how these people are doing it. But I said, you know what? If your grandfather can get that money, great, because I cannot get that for him. And that's where you have to back off. But I said, the problem is that $1,000, that tells me it's probably a wholesaler. Because for a $400,000 property, if I default in any way, shape, or form, you can only take me to court for that $1,000. I'm not gonna release it to you, but you're gonna have to fight me for it. Who's gonna go to court for $1,000? They're just gonna let them walk away. So they put up not enough money to make it matter. And what they should have done was $4,000 or $5,000, but they didn't. So now he's gonna take his property off the market for a month, hope that it sells, and if it doesn't, now he's a month behind. So that's what that earnest money is for, is in good faith. Because if it falls apart, that seller has taken their property off the market, and they did not market it, and now they've got to start back at square one, but guess what? They still have a mortgage and utilities and HOA fees, so that money usually goes to pay for that, to compensate them for that. So keep that in mind. Make it a decent amount, but don't go, it's a $300,000 property, I want $15,000. People won't even look at your home because of that. That's just not realistic. There's not a set way. You know, if you've got a really, really nice home for $350,000, like really nice, you can go a little bit higher than everybody else. But again, it's just earnest money in good faith in case you default. This is what I'm taking because this is what I've got to cover my expenses with. That's all that's for. It's not a money grab. It's, you know, and then whatever earnest money it is what comes off of their down payment. So it's not in addition to, you know, it's just, that's what the money is, just a holding it to take their, in good faith, to take the property off the market. So you're gonna fill all this out. Okay, court approval, that's if the courts have got, if there's something going on with it, if there's a foreclosure, if it's a short sale, a repo, if it's in litigation, you're gonna fill all that out. They're yes or no questions, right? Then financing, cash, conventional, FHA, VA, assumable, like it's all in here. But you need to know if it's FHA and VA approved home. Don't put that it is if it's not. A lot of condos are not FHA and VA approved. So there's a separate website I gave you last week that you can go in there and check on that, right? So you go and check, and if it is, then you can go ahead and put them on there. It'll have a date that it's good through, right? But for the most part, cash and conventional. A lot of the buyers are FHA and VA, so you don't want to exclude them just because it's a little bit harder loan, and you know they're lower, higher criteria really, because it can't have broken windows and the flashings and all that stuff has to be done, and so there's a little bit extra that they need. Some things are a little costly to the sellers, and sometimes the appraisals come in a little bit lower, but it's still them selling their home. So, and then foreign investor, FIRPTA, is this subject to a foreign investor? Is the seller a foreign person? Because it matters to the buyer, because there's things the buyer has to do after it closes because of that. Possession description. Once it records, are they renting back, or do they get the keys at close of escrow? Is there a lease agreement? Like, what's going on with that? When can the buyer get the property? Is there a lockbox? Yes or no? Is it electronic? Is it mechanical? Guys, if you're gonna take a listing, I cannot urge you enough to go down to the LVR and get the electronic lockbox. Because you can go get the $12 one at Home Depot, but it's not gonna be secure. It's your client's house key. If they're living in the home, that's not really safe for them. Like, anybody can go in there and break those boxes open. But with the electronic one, it tells the minute a realtor accesses that box, their name, their company, their email, their phone number, what time they accessed it, what time they put the key back, how long they stayed in there, and it gives you a report. You get a text and an email from that. You can monitor that property, and it's great for follow-up as well. But do your clients a favor. They are expensive, like $180, but they're well worth it, and you can just reuse them. So it's a upfront cost that you can keep reusing, right? And then it wants to know where the location is. And then, well, let me stop there. Do not put your electronic lockbox on a water spigot, okay? Because if somebody turns on that water with the electronic box, it's gonna ruin that box because it's water and electric. Like, just don't do it. Gas meters are our favorite places to put them, but the gas company can come by and cut your lockbox off at your expense, okay? They don't want our lock boxes on there, and I have to be honest, sometimes that's the only place we can put them. Make sure wherever you're gonna hang it, that it's not gonna come off. We see people all the time that just kind of like, they don't open the thing and they just stick it over something. So somebody could just come and take it right back off. And the common sense is just not always there. But try to find a fence. If you have a front door handle that comes out like this, you can hang it on the door handle, a security door, the front little fencing, the side gate, if it, you know, there's places you can hang it. If you're in a condo or something and there's stairs, hang it underneath the stairs so not everybody can see it. There are places that you can put it, right? So then photos, are you gonna do your own, or the agent will upload, or there's no photos? You have to have a photo for the front of the house. That's a rule in there. You have to have at least one photo of the front of the house. There are 99 or 100 spots for photos. That's how many they let you. Don't put 10. Like, you're gonna pay a photographer and they're gonna give you 35 to 50 photos. Put them all in there. Don't take them with your camera, guys. These photos are your first chance to get somebody to go to that house. That's your marketing. That is your brand. So if you're known to take pictures on your cell phone and you're not a professional photographer and don't know all the little cool things that your cell phone does, and you're just snapping pictures, don't do that, because we remember, like, oh God, you can just tell what kind of agent that is. Or when they're standing in the bathroom, they take a picture of themselves in the mirror. Okay, don't do that. Like, you'll see sometimes like this, and their arm, like, what are you doing? Hire the photographer. It's about $150 for like 35 to 40 pictures. Again, it is your brand. You will lose listings because you did not do it properly. It's so worth it. You're gonna take those pictures, you're gonna put it on any kind of marketing that you're doing for this particular home and for future homes. You're gonna put them on websites. It's your brand, so just spend that little extra money. It's gonna cost you, like I said last week, $500 to $600, $700 before you even hit the market. You've got photos, possibly Matterport tour, a drone, you've got a sign post, you got a sign flyer box, you've got flyers, there's just so many things that you have. The lockbox, like, everything is there. A lot of it's time, but you've got ink, you've got paper, we give you all that stuff here for free, but if you're doing it at home, think about the costs to list it. Then you've got to run an ad, hopefully the home's illustrated. You just listed postcard. You're buying zip codes to mail out to the agents. Like, it's expensive to do this, but if you've got really not good photos, that's your job is to get them to the house. A really good photographer will say, ooh, I don't like that stain, so I'm gonna take it this way, and I'm gonna take it this way, and guess what? They never saw that stain in the picture, and then when they got there, they're like, oh, but I really love the house. We can recarpet this room. But if you're taking pictures because you don't know the difference, real estate photographers are trained to take pictures for real estate. They know how we want to market our homes. Don't hire just any photographer. It's gotta be a real estate photographer. We have Virtuance. I have a great photographer, June. He goes everywhere with me. I've been using him for the last 7 years. He does all of our Christmas parties as well. He does everything that we need him to do for Realty One, but he does drone, he does Matterport, he does a ton of stuff. He'll do community photos, and you can keep those community photos to market elsewhere. So it's not like, oh, you're always just buying photos just for that. And also, if you've, like this one that I've got right here, this listing, I've taken 7 condos. I've already listed and sold 7 condos in this complex. So you better believe I had to take one good picture of the front entrance, the parks, and then all 3 pools. And now I use those same photos for every single one. So now, instead of doing, I did 50 photos for the first time and 35 for the rest, because they're only 1,000 square foot units. So now I take those 35 and then I use all the rest of the neighborhood that I took the first time. But it's still the whole picture of the neighborhood. That's what you really want, right? All right, so now, for the time being, we have a broker compensation button area. That's what they're talking about. That's what the whole NAR lawsuit is about. They want to remove that. It's such a topic, okay? So back in the day, we were allowed to put whatever percentage we wanted in there and only show homes to our clients that were that percentage. Then they said, no more of that, take that out. You have to show them everything that's on the market. But just put, take that out. Well, that's not in here, but this is whatever. So when the MLS, I have to put, I had to take that out, and I can only look by anything that matches our criteria. Then they said, now you have to put it on any kind of advertising. So that's why Zillow and Realtor.com, they tell you what percentage we're getting. Now this current ruling doesn't want our commission put anywhere. So not even us, we as realtors don't even know what the commission is. That's all this lawsuit is saying, is we just don't want the commission displayed. It's not saying that the seller can't pay us. It's just saying we don't want it displayed. So right now it's there when we're doing the listing and we're putting it in there, but that's probably gonna go away because they don't want us to disclose how much the seller's willing to pay us, which is the stupidest thing I can imagine, but we should know. Anyways, commission excluded, again, that means, is it excluded if you are an agent from another brokerage, or is it excluded because if I find a buyer, then yes, I get paid, but if you sell it to your next door neighbor because you've been talking to them, and then it's excluded for that one neighbor, so they're usually that's gonna be a no. In 20 years, I haven't used excluded for anything, so no. Is there a flat fee only, which they could definitely do? They could say commission 0, co-op 0, but flat fee of $500. You can absolutely do that. Is it variable? Meaning, like, I can change the commission. That, how would I change the commission? Because I haven't used this button either. Would I change the commission if, again, you sold it to your sister? Then I would get 1% to do the transaction, but normally it's 3% or whatever. So this is, again, whatever, you're probably not gonna use it, and this is all probably gonna go away. Now, is there a buyer incentive, yes or no? I don't even know when you would use that button. So really, this is the only button that I would ever fill in, because I wouldn't do flat fees, but okay. Again, this is for the listing information. I would not ever recommend them doing a flat fee. But sales office bonus, if somebody in our office sells it, because I'm a Realty One agent, if I sell it, it's a bonus for $1,000 bonus if another Realty One agent sells it. I don't do that either. I don't care who from what brokerage buys my listings. I don't care. Resident name. If the homeowner lives in there, I put their name because that's who they're gonna be calling. Their name and their phone number, right? But if it's a vacant home, I put my name, my phone number, because I don't want them to have they're not gonna call my client for anything other than to schedule an appointment, and if the client doesn't live there, they don't need to call my client. Is the owner a licensee? That's if you're selling your own home. Showing description, we've talked about this before. If somebody lives in the home, it's always by appointment, okay? If you key any, which means they can come by at any time, and somebody lives in there, and you get reported, that's a $250 fine, immediately. Key call, you could do that too, but again, if somebody lives in there, I always say appointment. And then they call me, and I call my seller, and then I tell them yes. I don't usually like having them call my seller directly. I just don't. I could put my name in there even if the seller lives there. I could put my name if I don't want them talking to my seller. Now there's also no showings, and then there's showing time. We have a little button in here, showing time, that they just log in there and they say what date and time they want to show it, and it sends me a text message that says somebody's requested a showing, gives me all their information. And I talk to my seller, or if it's vacant, I just say, yep, you can go at this time, or no, because we have another showing. And then it sends them an automatic text and email that says you've been confirmed or rejected. Again, additional things here. Is there a tenant? Is there owner? Is there vacant? If there's a tenant, guys, there are tenant laws. You have to give them at least 24-hour notice before you show it, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But you might have a really easygoing tenant that says, yeah, just give me 2 hours. Okay, I'm just gonna send you something to write, a sign that says that you've given me authorization to schedule appointments within 2 hours. So then that way, because by law, we're supposed to give them 24 hours, but they said it's okay. So you want something in writing that says yes. If they have pets, put warning pets. And tell your clients, if you're the listing agent, to lock up your pets, or I suggest they take their pets with them, because cats get out, dogs will bark, dogs will bite. I don't be responsible for any of that stuff. So that's a conversation you're gonna have with your seller. Occupancy, select the showing description first. So it lets you know owner occupied, tenant, or vacant. You're gonna mark one of those. If there's a lease, you're gonna put when the lease ends. Super important, because some people are like, I have to move in by May 1st. Well, the lease doesn't end until June or July. If this house somebody's renting this house, you can sell the house, but the new buyers have to abide by that lease. They can't change it just because they bought the home. So now they become landlords, And it depends on how long it is. If they're in an FHA or VA loan, it's 60 days. They have to be in that home. If it's conventional, they can choose, or cash, they can choose to leave them in there for a bit of time. So that's super important. Is the power on or off? Please have discussions with your sellers. Just leave your power on. Nobody can view it if it's in like dusk, but also when you go to do inspections. I can't test anything. I go to do my walkthrough. I can't test anything. Everything's shut off. So you don't want to close on something if you don't know things are working or not. Lockbox, if you have a combo one from Home Depot, you're going to put the lockbox code in there. Is it gated? If there's a gate code, never put your gate codes in your agent-to-agent remarks, or in your regular remarks. I don't like to even put them in the agent-to-agent remarks. I like to put them down here because sometimes people get a hold of those and they don't. This is a lot of information, but in the agent-to-agent remarks, they just look for whatever. I try to keep the house as secured as possible. Don't ever give out gate codes. It's just bad. Have your people follow you in, right? Meet them out front the gate and then follow you in. Okay, so IDX is not lit up. You don't have to worry about that. But internet, do your clients want it on the internet or no? If they say no, it's not going anywhere on the internet, and I don't know how you're going to market that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Yes.
Does that also mean social media then, I'm assuming, right?
No, this is just like where this listing's going. Do they want it on the internet? So Zillow, Realtor.com, the MLS, that's the internet. Like, where am I gonna display this as the listing agent? Public address. Sometimes they don't want their address shown. And you'll come across listings sometimes that are in that search area, but there's no address. What good is that? But some people are so secretive, they just don't want it. Now, if you're in the multi-million-dollar homes, I get, maybe they've got a custom address, and I get it, whatever. They just don't want anybody coming by, fine. AVM is that Zestimate, the real value, the estimated value or whatever. I have a love-hate relationship with Zillow, as you all know, but the public is using it. So I always suggest, yes, go ahead and have that, because the public's gonna see, well, that's overpriced, or that's underpriced, or whatever, but that's what the public is doing. So I suggest them put it on there, because if somebody's on Zillow and they click on this and they're like, there's no value on there. Is this the true value? They get frustrated, and then they hate your house, even though it has nothing to do with you. So just, yes, it's all good. Commentary is the description. Like, do the public remarks on what you're describing of the property. I always say yes, because that's what gives them all that information. If it's set to auction, you're gonna type that in there. Virtual tour link, there's branded and unbranded. So you always wanna upload the unbranded one, which does not have any of your information. When you have your photographer go out there, do not have him take pictures if your sign is up. And if your sign is up, take your sign down, have him take the pictures of the house, and then they usually will make a virtual tour. And what that is just stringing the pictures together. But some other ones will do virtual tours where they switch up the pictures and do the nice music and all of that kind of stuff. But you always want the unbranded version, because the LVR does not allow us to have a branded version. So you can't have your name, because we were all advertising ourselves in our virtual tours. And they said, no, no more, take your signs down. So I always get my pictures and then have the sign set to come up the day after, because I don't like an empty sign, a sign post. It's kind of stupid just hanging there with nothing there. So sometimes my photographer's dodging it out of there and I'm like, ugh. But just unbranded if you can. Save as incomplete, and then you're gonna go back up to office agent info, right? So then this is all your information up here. If you're on a team, you have to do the team lead. Are you a realtor? Yes. Is there agent ownership? No, because it's just a client, right? Oh, I think this is the seller a realtor? No. And then is the agent owner, do I have a relationship with the owner? No. Listing, I put phone number here, attribution, I'm not even quite sure, but I just always put phone number. Call me if you have questions. If you're a team, again, information there you're gonna fill out. Save as incomplete, and then go back up to remarks. You've got 1,000 characters for your public remarks and 750 for your agent remarks. Whatever you can't fit in your public remarks, you're gonna fit into your agent remarks. Agent remarks are optional, but I still put stuff in there. You guys are that's where you're gonna put 30% discount if you use Rock Title. I always say, please call me before submitting an offer, just because I wanna know who's thinking about submitting an offer. And if they look at it, and I have 2 offers, and I'm thinking about making an offer today, if they call me and say, hey, we just viewed it, we're gonna make an offer, guess what? I'm gonna hold off on deciding on one of those 2 offers. So I want them to call me ahead of time just to let me know. And then I'm like, oh, do you have cash, conventional, FHA, VA? Are you asking for closing costs? And if they say, yeah, we need 5,000, do you need it? Do you want it? What's going on with it? And it kind of gives me an idea of a heads up of what they're looking for beforehand. And then you'll get a lot of people who are like, I know it's priced this, but we're gonna come in, we're only approved for this. And I'm like, that's 30,000 below. I'm like, that's not even what the comps are doing. So I had that conversation. You can feel free to go ahead and show it. I'm just letting you know. My seller's given me a bottom line and you are way below that bottom line. So I don't know if that's gonna go anywhere with you, but if you guys wanna take a peek, go for it. I never tell somebody no, they can't. Because guess what? So a lot of times these buyers can find the money if they really, really like the house. Go ahead, but I'm just letting you know they're not going that low. But you're gonna write your remarks, and if you look in here, what did I put in here? Oh, I didn't put my MLS sheet. Okay, so there's no MLS sheet, but you're gonna say beautiful single-story home and the desirable Centennial Hills, and you're just gonna talk it up. Have the ceiling fans in every room, brand new flooring, brand new paint, blah, 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 whatever you're gonna do in there. And then when you run out of room, you're gonna keep going in your agitation remarks there because you want them to know everything. Because there's only so many characters in there, but then you might have a slew of stuff that you really wanna share with them. But that's where, if you took my listing class, I put the upgrade list and I leave that at the house because even so, that's 1,750 characters might not be enough for everything that I need. So I try to give them everything I need to tell them in multiple places, right? And directions. Don't say, Anna 95, turn right, turn left, house on the left. Don't do that. Give them directions. Anna 95, go east on Ann, you're gonna, turn right on this street, 2 lights in, go give them directions because sometimes it's really hard. Yes, we all have directions on our phone, but you will not believe how many times people get lost. I one time was showing a house in the Northwest, but it was actually in the Southwest because back in the day, it wasn't so easy. And we were on MapQuest and we're printing out and we're driving and I'm like, this is a Southwest part of town. How did it come up in my search? So just be as accurate as possible here. I've seen them where they just put the address. What good is that? You guys, this is realtor to realtor. Be kind to your fellow realtors. Help them out. You want to sell the house and I want my buyer to buy the house. But we've got to work with each other, okay? So you do that and then you hit save as incomplete, right? So before, say it's all filled out, or you think it's all filled out, you're gonna hit validate, and then watch what happens at the top. Bing, red. That tells me something on every single one of these pages is missing, something. So you're gonna go back, and it's gonna be read by everything that's missing. So it really does help you out here. You can't, because it's not gonna let you submit something that's incomplete. So you validate it, make sure it's as complete as possible. Then what I do is every time you hit save as incomplete, it gives you the MLS number. Click on that MLS number and it's gonna give you the MLS sheet. I take a picture of that MLS sheet and I send it to my sellers and I'll say, please read through this. Does this look accurate to you? Because if I messed up and I posted it out there, they know now that I gave them the option to find that too, the opportunity to find that, and they didn't find it either, so they can't be so mad at me. Say, oh my gosh, did you miss that too? I'm changing it right now, so sorry. But you just wanna make sure, and they say, you know what, it's actually this, not that. Oh, okay, great, thank you. Any help that you can get to portray their property in the best light possible. But once everything's been completed, you're gonna hit submit listing. The minute you hit submit listing, boom, it's everywhere, guys, everywhere. And then what I do immediately, once I hit submit listing, I click on that MLS number and I print out the MLS sheet that shows ER status because that needs to go in your file to Maria to SkySlope. Again, when you're on the mentee program, the 70-30 split for your first 3 transactions, all your paperwork and documents get emailed to Maria and then she uploads it on the first one and you're watching her. On the second transaction, she's sitting with you, showing you how to work SkySlope. And on the third transaction, you're doing it and she's coming in behind you to make sure everything's good. But just remember, so you're gonna print out your MLS sheet, send it to Maria. She's gonna upload that. You're gonna send her the listing agreement, all the forms, all the disclosures, everything is in there. But anybody have any questions on how all that works? Nope. Now, keep in mind, this is the MLS. They have numbers, they have, if you go to the main screen here, oops, sorry. Oopsies, no, get out of here, go up here, matrix, right here. So you can go to this area here, it's all training. You can go up over here. If you click down up here, you've got the help tab right up there. Call them. They will walk you through everything, just like transaction desk. Transaction desk is great. They're 24 hours and they will spend 3 hours on the phone with you, walking you through everything. We have Maria's Tech Thursday classes, but if it's in the middle of the night and whatever, just call them. But same with MLS, because I get people like, oh, what do I click here? What do I click there? You guys, I do this class, but that's all the training I do on in putting your listings on the MLS. Everything else on the MLS is an MLS question. My job is to teach you how to do real estate, not how to work the systems. But I can kind of show you how all of that works. But other than that, I think we're good. Since I didn't save it, let me see if it's saved over here. So, edit existing listing. No, see, it didn't come up. Yeah, so we're good. So it didn't save it. So awesome, because I never saved this incomplete. But you would, like, if you saved this incomplete, you would hit edit existing listing, and it would drop down here with the MLS number. So that's how you would get back to it. But always remember, save as incomplete, because it sucks to do the whole thing and then just lose it all, because then you got to start back over. But all right, any questions? No.
That
All right.
only stays out there for like 7 days. Is that something? There's a time frame before you have to go live, right? For it to stay out there, or do you have to keep going?
Well, if you do a coming soon listing, it's 30 days.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of the coming soon. Either you're putting it on the market or you're not.
Right.
Like I just, because what it was before is coming soon, and then nobody's supposed to show it, see it, make you offers. You're not supposed to accept any offer. Nothing's supposed to happen. But then people start coming soon, and then they're showing it and they're taking off. I'm like, well, what fair? It's not fair. Like, we're the people that are abiding by the rules and waiting. So I'm not a big fan of the coming soon. There's special documents you need for the coming soon. Either you're ready or you're not. That's the way I look at it. But you can use coming soon if you want. Right? All right, perfect.